For more than 30 years, he has researched the radical left, Marxist, and terrorist movements and their covert influence on mainstream politics. In 2007, Trevor discovered the long-hidden relationship between the notorious Hawaiian Communist Party member Frank Marshall Davis and the young Barack Obama. In 2009, he exposed the communist roots of Obama's green job czar, Van Jones. And after an extensive campaign by Glenn Beck and others, Jones was forced to resign from his White House position. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Trevor is best known for his book, Enemies Within, Communists, Socialists, and Progressives in the United States Congress. His hard-hitting political documentary video, The Enemies Within, was released in 2016, and he just released his most recent movie, I gotta watch this one, Enemies Within the Church. Can you please help me welcome Mr. Trevor Loudon?
Thanks very much, Brandon. Thanks for having me in your church. Thanks to all my friends here. I know quite a few of you. Can you all hear me down the back all right? Yeah. Can you understand the southern accent? Good. Hey, how many refugees from California are here tonight? Yeah. About a quarter of you? Okay. I'll tell you a story from California. I was in Los Angeles. I love street food. I bought some food from a vendor. And he said to me, "Hey, you have an accent. Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from New Zealand." He said, "Well, where's that?" So to make it really simple for him, I said, "Look, it's down in the South Pacific near Australia." He said, where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes from. So I can see why you Californians are here now. But people ask me all the time, they say, why would I be here in the United States? Why can't I just stay in New Zealand? I say there are two simple reasons. The first is gratitude. My country was facing invasion during World War II by the Imperial Japanese Army. If it hadn't been for the massive sacrifice of your fathers and uncles and grandfathers at the battles of Guadalcanal and the Coral Sea at Midway, we would have been done, folks. It's a very strong memory even today. The second reason is related, a little more selfish. Ronald Reagan had it right. This is the last best hope for mankind. You know, if we allow what's happening now to continue, we'll soon be living in a world run out of Beijing and Cuba and Tehran and Venezuela. Is that the kind of world you want to give to your kids, folks? No. We're going to make a stand, people. Tonight it's going to be a little bit of a hybrid speech tonight. I'm going to talk about the situation in America, but also a little bit about the churches too. Because we wouldn't be in the mess we are today if the churches weren't in the mess that they are today. Okay? So, how many people in the room have ever had to get a security clearance or a background check for a government or military position? Yeah, okay, you're talking quarter of the room. You surely didn't pass, did you, Tim? Top secret, well done. Good. Well, is it true those background checks are extremely rigorous? They go through your family background, look at criminal convictions, overseas travel. They want to know that you're a safe, secure person and will uphold the Constitution. You know, one traitor can cost you a battle, even your country. You imagine had Benedict Arnold been successful when he tried to betray the revolution, how different your country would have been. Now we have thousands of traitors in our leadership, folks. Thousands of them. It's a wonder we're still standing. So, but what if you're a young Marxist radical I don't know, someone like Mark Vasey, for instance, someone like, not old, not young now, like Eddie Bernice Johnson, and you get yourself elected to Congress, where you may serve on the Homeland Security Committee or the Armed Services Committee. You know, you hang around with the Communist Party, you write for their publications like Eddie Bernice Johnson used to, and you get elected to Congress where you may serve on the Homeland Security Committee or the Armed Services Committee or even the Intelligence Committee. How much of a background check do you need for those positions, folks? Zero. None whatsoever. You think maybe the Iranians know about this? The Chinese, the Cubans, the Venezuelans, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Communist Party USA, Democratic Socialists of America. You think they know that the most powerful legislators in the planet have no background checks or security clearances whatsoever? But they wouldn't try and exploit that against us, surely, would they? That would be unethical. But don't worry, don't panic. Don't panic, because we actually have a government organisation specifically designed to keep traitors and spies out of the US government. And that is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So do you feel better now? You feel relieved now? Thank God. Okay? Well, once you would have been pretty cool with that, because once it was a very efficient and patriotic organisation. No longer, unfortunately. So the FBI has another problem. They answer to the Judiciary Committee, the most powerful committee in your Congress. They oversee the FBI and the Justice Department. Now, does anybody remember a man called John Conyers from Michigan? He was in Congress for about 140 years, I believe, in total. From about 1965 to 2017. I know the numbers don't add up, but you've all done Common Core, so it doesn't matter. Do you know that 8 out of 5 Americans can't do basic math? It's true. But anyway, so he was there for a long time. He was the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He was the man who abolished your House Un-American Activities Committee back in the 1970s, one of your last lines of internal defense. That man had a 50-year history with the Communist Party USA, 40 years with Democratic Socialists of America, big-time supporter of the Workers' World Party, which supports North Korea and Cuba and Iran, but he oversaw the FBI and the Justice Department. Now, he's out of there now, but until recently on that committee, you had Judy Chu from California, the San Gabriel Valley. She is a long-time supporter of the Communist Workers' Party, militant pro-Chinese communist group, and she's described as China's best friend in your Congress and the Chinese press. And sometimes the FBI, to show they're doing something, arrest one of the more than 25,000 Chinese spies currently working in this country. But that's too much for Judy Chu. She gets on their case. Check her out on C-SPAN. She gets onto the FBI. You are racist, she says. You're a racist organisation who hates Asians. And she's arranged for sensitivity training for these cruel FBI agents so they don't persecute these poor Chinese spies any longer. Now, the head of the Judiciary Committee today, you've seen him on TV, he fills up the whole screen, a man called Jerry Nadler from New York. The man who tried to impeach President Trump twice. Well, Sean Hannity's been upset because you have a Marxist in Congress now. Ocasio-Cortez, card-carrying member of Democratic Socialists of America. How could this happen, says Sean? Well, people, Jerry Nadler has been a card-carrying member or supporter of Democratic Socialists of America since at least 1977. The man is a full-on Marxist, yet he oversees the FBI and the Justice Department. So just imagine this. This is an imaginary scenario, right? The FBI wakes up one day and thinks, well, we've got at least 100 members of the House and 25 members of the US Senate who couldn't pass a background check to drive a school bus in any county in this country. But they're running Homeland Security, they're running armed services, they are running intelligence, education, natural resources. Every major committee in the Congress and the House is controlled by a Marxist. They are the reason we have a nuclear deal with Iran. They are the reason the borders are wide open. They are the reason the kids are being indoctrinated in schools and America is no longer energy independent. They are the reason why virtually everything that's going wrong with this country is going wrong, and we better darn well do something about it before the country's lost. Let's go to the Judiciary Committee. This is imaginary. Let's go to the Judiciary Committee, says the FBI. Let's go to our bosses. Mrs. Chu, Mr. Nadler, we need to investigate at least 100 of your Democratic colleagues for working against this country. Do you mind? And by the way, Mrs. Chu, by the way, Mr. Nadler, you are both on the list. Is that all right? What do you think's going to happen to their budget next year, folks? Why did the FBI not go after Hillary Clinton for her service when she was guilty as sin? Where everybody here who got a security clearance would be in Leavenworth for the rest of their life had they done what she did. Because she could be the president. She could destroy the FBI. Do you think the FBI is going to bite the hand that feeds it? So if you're a young Marxist radical or a young Islamist and you get into Congress, the media will not touch you. There are no security clearances or background checks at all, and the FBI doesn't dare to touch you. Give you one more example. It's in my movie out there, Enemies Within. Got shown 2 million times on Amazon Prime. They took it down 2 weeks before the election. All about the communists in your government. Andre Carson, one of your 3 Muslim members of Congress, he's at a Muslim Brotherhood front group conference in Connecticut. The Muslim Brotherhood are the fathers of Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS. In America, they work legally through the Council on American Islamic Relations, Muslim Student Association, etc. They're all over Texas, believe me. But he's at this conference, and he gets up, and he's got a big grin on his face. He says, "Hey guys, I've been told there's some spies here today. There's some people in this audience undercover checking us out because they believe we are here plotting to destroy this country. Well, I say to you undercover operatives, you amateur spies, Allah will not allow you to stop us." This man currently serves on the Intelligence Committee overseeing the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the DEA, all 16 of your intelligence agencies. Your government is completely penetrated by your enemies, folks. That's why you can't get stuff done. John Ratcliffe, Trump's intelligence advisor, said publicly last year that Chinese had compromised so many American congressmen they can decide which legislation passes your Congress and which does not. That should scare every American, folks. Everyone. We are living in a regime now directed by Xi Jinping out of Beijing, right now, with a little bit of help from Susan Rice and maybe Kamala Harris on a good day, and Barack Obama and 1 or 2 others, Valerie Jarrett, etc.